أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. In the series of discussion of Ali Imran, we are now discussing Hazrat Yahya A.S. And this is lecture number 2 on Hazrat Yahya A.S. Last time we had reached the point where I wanted to discuss baptism, why he is called Baptist or the immerser, and what is the importance of this baptism. It is a very important history, and it is one of the important aspects of religion. One of the ambassadors told me that I want to study Hadith, but whatever book of Hadith I take up, I start, it starts with wuzu, ghusl, and washing, how to be mutahar, how to be athar, how to clean oneself. So I get bored and I give it up. Now he is living in a civilized society, now thinks that these things are easier, but look at the history when Adam alayhi salam was created, and it needed instructions and implementation also. And it took thousands of years, and still today. At the end, I will show you a video which everybody knows it. It's not something new, but it's horrible. I'll not play it more than a minute because it's too filthy. I leave it. But it is just to expose that how important it is and how difficult it has been even for the prophets to implement it. This is not an ordinary thing. This was not the ordinary job which Hazrat Yahya A.S. was doing, and even Hazrat Isa A.S. did it. On the last night when he was arrested, Hazrat Isa A.S., after the Last Supper, he himself, Hazrat Isa A.S., he himself washed the feet of his disciples. It's not an easy thing that you tell somebody that to get clean and he gets clean. And you will see this. John commanded Jews because he was a prophet to the Jews. Isa A.S. was also a prophet to the Jews. Virtue, piety, righteousness that purify the soul. And baptism, it has been mentioned separately, and for baptism, use water to purify body and wash away sins. He linked it religiously with the cleaning of sins, that if you wash your body, your sins will be clean. You will become clean. The second wahi which came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, he was commanded to keep his clothes clean. It's so important. Yahya is also mentioned as John, the immerser, in some Baptist Christian traditions, that he used to immerse people in water so that they get dipped. They used to avoid water, but he used to dip them so that they become accustomed to water. You will not believe, perhaps, in the academy, in the hostel, one of the officers who had joined that civil service, we found after about 6 months that he is not taking bath. It's unbelievable. He was afraid of cold. We were in the mountainous areas. It's not an easy thing to inculcate cleanliness, and to the degree which Surah Mudassir demands. So one day we caught that person, colleague, batchmate, roommate, hostel mate, and we just immersed him, threw him in the tub, filled the water in the tub, and we just threw him in the tub. And after that, he became used to it. And this something which is very unbelievable. John is called Baptist. He was given this title. It is understood that baptism was symbolic for cleanliness. That is why he's called Baptist. It's symbolic. It's not, something which we say is farz or sunnat or something. It is symbolic to inculcate a habit. Besides cleaning of mind, it was linked. It was linked with the cleaning of body, as Surah Al-Mudassir has remained major concern in religions. In all religions, you will find that it is a major concern, even Hinduism. But they have already converted into a ritual, and a very filthy ritual. I'll show that also. However, it always remained a difficult task to inculcate cleanliness through proper and regular washing. That is why you find detailed instructions in the Hadith how to clean the fingers, how to clean in between the fingers, how to clean in between the nails, properly, appropriately, and regularly. In the school days, when we used to go to the school at that time, I don't know what is happening today, but at that time, they used to check nails, wood polish, everything in clothes, hair. Bathing as religious ritual, now it has become a ritual. Religious ritual, they call it a religious ritual. Existed for thousands of years, primarily among Jews, Muslims, and Buddhists. The need to remove both body and mind impurities existed thousands of years before germ theory of disease. Germ theory of disease is a recent thing. These things have come after Renaissance. It's the 18th century. Before that, even the surgeons, before starting the surgery, they used not to clean their hands. But when the germs theory came that there are germs, then these things, hygiene started developing. Religious ritual it was associated with holiness, and holiness with cleaning. And it was through the religion in the beginning that it was inculcated, it was taught. Why religions emphasized cleanliness? Some interesting examples from medieval and modern age, even today. I'll just give some examples from history. It's not an easy thing. You must have experience. We have experience, for example. My parents have the experience. When we ask the children to clean their teeth every morning before going to bed, gargle, clean your nails. It's not an easy job. Medieval people bathed depending upon their wealth. Medieval people. If somebody was taking bath, he was considered wealthy. And even the wealthy people had the swimming pools or baths, common baths. We call it now a swimming pool, at that time a bath. Mohenjo-daro, if you go to Mohenjo-daro, you might have gone there, you will find that there were common baths. At that time, people were rich and they had baths. And beautiful baths, modern baths. If you look at them, you find everything and very scientifically constructed. And personal preferences. Somebody has a preference to wash, otherwise it was not required. It was not considered scientific or hygienic. These concepts are not there. Benedictine monks of Westminster Abbey, London, bathed only 4 times a year on some important occasions. Not every day, not every month, only 4 times a year: Easter, end of June, end of September, and end of Christmas and Christmas, according to monastic rules. It was part of monasticism. Bathing was part of monasticism. As today, Kumbh Mela is part of asceticism, Sufism. I'll explain that also. Idea that bathing and hygiene can bring medical benefits and better health wasn't there till 18th, 19th centuries. These civilized nations, they didn't have this. And even today, you look at the number of bathrooms, toilets in any house, they are not commensurate with the number of the bedrooms or other living rooms. Even doctors, they didn't wash their hands before surgery until it was discovered. There were findings, and then the rules were made on germs in late 18th century. Before this, even the surgeons were not cleaning their hands before surgery. When piped water, I had earlier also mentioned it, when piped water supply was provided in Rome, people agitated against it. They made it a political issue. There were processions, there were speeches, there were petitions. And as soon as the Roman power declined, they destroyed it. They gave it up. There are some parts still remaining. Now, historical difficulties in inculcating cleanliness habit. When Roman Empire collapsed, this is the period of Dark Ages, 476 AD. Aqueducts in Rome, I've seen those myself, and indoor plumbing, lot of showers, public bath houses, and private bathing facilities disappeared. The people gave it up, even destroyed. It was only after the Khilafat Usmaniya, when they came in contact with Khilafat Usmaniya, a Turkish hammam, following the model of Turkish hammam, then they again revived it. This is called, in the history, this is called an era of uncleanliness throughout Europe. Historically, this era is called the era of uncleanliness in Europe. There is a general belief that medieval era, that is 780, was a cesspool of absolute filth. I have taken these words, these are not my words. I'm just quoting. Where public bathhouses existed, they operated as centers of socialization and relaxation. Rich people would come there. For example, today we have gyms. They were like gyms. Rich people would become members. They would come there and they would enjoy life, socialization, relaxation, and even sex. Some bathhouses gained a reputation where people engaged in sexual acts. Church opposed public bathhouses and dens of sin where men and women could mingle. Now, particularly from here, this bathing became a ritual, just as a ritual baptism. Thus, you just immerse your finger, it is your baptism. Just put some water, but it's baptism. The objective is achieved. As Hindus developed that if you can't enter the water of Ganges, you can't, you don't want to wash, just throw some stone or some piece of, or some pebble in water with the niyat, with the intention, as if you are taking the bath and your bath is accepted. Your baptism is accepted. They made it a ritual. Just finger, put this finger in water and it is, accepted. In Buddhist temples in India, priests bathed for religious reasons. In India, the Buddhists even, they did not wash regularly. They washed themselves only for the purpose of religion. Now, for example, this is an Eid occasion. We say this is Jummah day, and some people preach that you must wash on Jummah, you must wash on Eid. So Buddhists, they limited it, narrowed it down just on some religious occasions. For religious purposes, they would take bath, otherwise not regularly. But this played a great role. Buddhist priests' bathing practice spread into China and then to Japan. It went slowly, it spread. In West, bubonic plague, when there was a plague, a lot of people were died, like corona. At that time, a very strange notion developed against water. Instead of going for water, cleanliness, it developed against water. What is that? In West, bubonic plague scared people from being in water. They thought, people believed, that the dirt on their skin blocked the way of the germs to get into the body. So they would not wash. A strange idea developed. So cleanliness is not an easy subject in sociology, in anthropology, in science, in hygiene. And the prophets had to emphasize it. As I said, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam himself, it was not the only occasion when he washed the feet of his disciples. On many other occasions, there are references that he washed the feet of the guests. And it was a tradition at that time. When the guest came, at the door, first they will wash their feet. Renewed interest in Roman baths and those in Ottoman Empire, there had to be rules. They had to issue orders, prompted ways to use public bath houses. Then they copied. First modern public baths were opened in Liverpool, England in 1829. Again, another example I give you, you will not believe, is unbelievable. In Manchester, 20th century, I saw a toilet in the kitchen. In the kitchen. This is unbelievable. In 1861, U.S. Sanitary Commission was appointed. 1861. It was established to help wounded soldiers during Civil War. And it produced a lot of good things. And they found that the washing patients, by washing the patients, their clothes and walls of the rooms could have many more people, could save many more people from diseases. And then it became a law. Hygiene was developed. Before the war, Civil War, I'm quoting, Catherine Eschenberg, she is author of the book, The Dirt on Clean, an unsanitized history. Now she says, I'm quoting, before the war, Americans had been just as dirty as Europeans. And they came out of the war thinking, then they realized, they appointed the commission, then they realized cleanliness is democratic. It developed as a slogan. Cleanliness is democratic. It is progressive. Cleanliness is progressive. If you are clean, it means you are a progressive person. If you are washing, it means you are a progressive person. It is forward-looking. And it is wonderful, and it gave wonderful results. And yes, it has given wonderful results, not only in the field of health, but all around socially, in sociology. millions of naked Hindus, ascetics, Sufis, Hindu Sufis. This is again not my word. I'm quoting. See, you can just click and find it. Ascetics with mud on their bodies plunge into Ganges every year. They first put the mud on their body, cow dung on their body, cow urine on their body. They smear it, they sprayed it, and then they think that they are going to wash their sins in the Ganges, to wash away their sins on Kumbh Mela. There were reports this time that there were perhaps 10 million people at a time flocking to Ganges. One of the world's largest religious gatherings that lasts 55 days. I'll show you a video, but I'll not play the whole of video because it's too filthy. Just so you may see that how it is difficult to inculcate hygiene and cleanliness. And it was in those circumstances, remember, those are the dark days, even before the dark ages, people were not ready to clean themselves. And the Prophet had to inculcate this habit in the people as a special program, as a program, if you call it, program of baptism. That is why he's called Baptist. So important. Some believers, some Hindu believers go to cow shelters even today, in a democracy, once a week to cover the bodies in cow dung and urine. You can imagine what must be happening in the days when there was totemism. People used to worship animals, and they can continue to worship one animal at least. There are others also they have worshipped, but at that time, animals were worshipped in the Rock Age, in the ancient ages, and it is called totemism. With the hope to boost their immunity and recover from, particularly these days, the numbers have increased, that they will recover from coronavirus. These days, the numbers have increased. Now, prevailing Hindu practice, smearing cow dung and urine. I'll just show this video. You know this video for a minute, and then I'll close this. If you can't see this, someone may raise the hand or unmute himself or herself and just tell me if that is not sharing. I'll share it again. I hope you can see this. After this ad, I think it will be played. After this ad, it will come up. Smearing cow dung. Now I have come back. I'm putting it on. I hope you can see the new screen. I'm sharing now the screen back. Now I'm back to my screen. Here it is. Yeah. Now back to the screen. I'm sorry I had to show that, but I don't want to go into those details. It is a long video, but I just expose it for about half a minute. So with this, I think I have covered about 45 minutes, no, about 30 minutes. I stop here. Next time, inshallah, we'll discuss the execution of Yahya A.S. and whether his body was severed. Not only the head was severed, but whole body was severed, and what happened to it, where are the relics. We'll come to that part. And last time Dr. Jassin Pasha had also asked a question on this. His question is still pending. So with this, I come to conclusion of today's lecture that baptism is one of the important teachings of Yahya A.S., which has been converted, unfortunately, into a ritual. It's not a ritual. It is one of the important requirements, cleanliness of body and mind. That is the message of baptism. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzat amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thank you very much.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك عن معصيتك وفضلك عن من سواك. اللهم فضلك ورحمتك على كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. O Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. O Allah, grant them your mercy. Make their graves guarded from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, remedy our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and all our friends and relatives who are sick. O Allah, grant them full and speedy recovery. O Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. O Allah, we seek from you all of the good, whether we know it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. O Allah, we ask you with every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinata arshih wa midada kalimatih. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinata arshih wa midada kalimatih. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinata arshih wa midada kalimatih. Wal asr, inna al-insana lafi khusr إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.